then x1g equal to x2g implies x1h is equal to x2h, because if an element is inside A, then according to our definition the image is x, the image of that element under the function h. So this implies this. Due to the fact that h is 1 to 1, where is that coming from? Because h is a 1 to 1 correspondence, so it has to be a 1 to 1 mapping. H is 1 to 1, we have x1 equal to x2. So in this case, this ultimately implies x1 is equal to x2. Now we go to the other extreme case. None of these two things belong to A. Okay. If none of these two belongs to A, then x1g equal to x2g directly implies x1 is equal to x2, because that's what they are now. x1g is x1, x2g is x2. So we are left with the intermediate cases, which likely will not arise. So let us see. Suppose x1 belongs to A and x2 does not belong to A, then x1g equal to x2g implies x1 belongs to A means x1g is x1h. x2 does not belong to A means x2g is x2 itself. Okay, so this is something which we have finally got. Let us now look at the mapping H. So H maps A into B, right? So that means x2 belongs to B, because x1 belongs to A, so x1h will belong to B. So x2 belongs to B. Since H maps A into B and x1 belongs to A, we have x2 equal to x1h belonging to B. Okay, but then B is a proper subset of A means after all it's a subset of A, so x2 will also belong to A, but then this implies x2 belongs to A, which is a contradiction. It contradicts this one, x2 does not belong to A. So this case does not arise. Yeah, as expected, this case will not arise. Similarly, under the assumption that x1g is equal to x2g, we cannot have x2 belongs to A and x1 not belonging to A. That case will also not arise. So in any case, x1g equal to x2g implies x1 is equal to x2, and that tells us that G is a one-to-one mapping. Thus G is one-to-one. Next we prove that G is onto. So for that we choose any element from the second set. Now the second set, if you remember, is B union S minus A. Next, what shall we take? Let us take T. Let T be any element in B union S minus A. Okay. If T belongs to S minus A, that means T is not in A, then T is equal to Tg according to the definition of the function G. Now assume T does not belong to S minus A. Since T is in the union, T not being in S minus A means T has to be in B. Then T belongs to B. Okay. Now since our function h from A to B is onto, it is a one-to-one correspondence, it is one-to-one that we have already used here in showing that G is one-to-one. Now we are going to use the ontoness of H to show that G is onto. So since H is onto, T is equal to say YH for some Y belonging to A. Okay. Now if Y belongs to A, then automatically Y belongs to S also, because A is after all a subset of S. Thus Y belongs to S such that T is equal to YH, which is also equal to YG, because according to the definition of G, if our input is coming from A, then the output is just the output of the input under the function H. So in any case, the arbitrary element of the second set or the range of G is appearing as the image of something in the domain. Here T is in S minus S, after all it's in S. Here also Y is in S such that T is appearing as the G image of Y. Here T is appearing as the G image of T itself. So G is onto. Thus G is a one-to-one correspondence between S and its proper subset B union S minus A. Now the question is, why is B union S minus a proper subset of S? Let's see that diagram. This we are not going to show why. This is S, this is A, and this is B. What is S minus A? S minus A is the set of all elements in S which are not in A. These elements. This is S minus A. And with that we are uniting B. So this is the union. The internal annular part between these two regions, striped regions, is not there in this set. Now there is an element in A that is not in B, some element. Why? Because B is a proper subset of A. So this condition demands that we have something in A that is not in B, and this something, you can see, it is neither in B nor in S minus A. So it cannot be in this union, but this something is definitely in S. So that's why this is a proper subset of S. This part I have shown it like this. I am not going to write anything for it. You understand? Okay. I leave some of these small things like this from the solution, so that that if you later see the solution you get confused. Not for that. I want you to come up with this again on your own. That is the purpose. Okay. So now we have achieved a one-to-one correspondence between S and one of its proper subsets. So by definition of infiniteness, according to this exercise, S is infinite. Thus, S is infinite and the solution ends. Okay.